Story 1. The Stranger at the Door. It was a biting December night, and I was 17, old enough to stay home alone, but still young enough to feel uneasy about it. My mom had left for her annual business trip, leaving me in our creaky old house at the edge of a snow-covered suburb. The storm that raged outside seemed intent on cocooning me in isolation. The snow fell steadily, thickening as the hours passed. I had settled on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, lazily watching a movie while the wind howled outside. The storm occasionally rattled the windows, an eerie soundtrack to my solitude. Around 7 p.m., something cut through the noise, a series of deliberate footsteps crunching through the snow. They were heavy, slow, and unhurried. Whoever it was, they were making their way to my front door. I froze, my breath catching. The figure coughed, a guttural, wet sound, as they reached the porch. But no knock came, no doorbell, nothing. I sat motionless, staring at the door. Minutes passed, each one dragging like an eternity. Finally, curiosity overcame fear, and I tiptoed to the door, peeking through the peephole. No one was there, but the snow told a different story. Footprints led right up to my door, then turned and vanished into the storm. I hadn't heard them leave. My stomach tightened with unease. Who would venture out in weather like this just to leave without a word? Shaking off the feeling, I returned to the couch, telling myself it was just a confused neighbor. By 11 p.m., the power had cut out twice, leaving the house in bone-chilling silence. I clutched my phone, scrolling aimlessly, when a sudden thump jolted me upright. It came from the side of the house, adrenaline pumping. I grabbed my phone and moved cautiously toward the kitchen. The light from my phone cast long shadows on the walls, turning every corner into a sinister void. As I neared the back door, my heart plummeted. A man stood outside, face pressed against the glass. His skin was pale, and his breath fogged the window. "Hey, kid," he croaked, his voice muffled but insistent. "Let me in. It's freezing out here." His hand fumbled with the doorknob. I backed away, my instincts screaming danger. "Open the door, kid," he repeated, louder this time. Then, as if a switch flipped, his expression darkened. His smile faded, replaced by a sinister scowl. "Open the fucking door," he bellowed, pounding his fist against the glass. I bolted to the couch and frantically dialed 911. The storm wreaked havoc on my signal, and the call dropped twice before I managed to connect. The operator barely got my address before the line cut out again. The man's pounding continued, each strike louder and more aggressive. Then, just as suddenly as he'd appeared, he was gone. It took the police nearly 30 minutes to arrive. By then, the man was long gone, his footprints vanishing into the storm's chaos. I never saw him again. Was he a predator or a desperate man lost in the blizzard? I'll never know, but the memory of his lifeless eyes still haunts me. Before we uncover the next bone-chilling tale lurking in the snow, make sure to hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share it with someone who loves a good scare, because the frost isn't the only thing creeping closer tonight. Story 2. Stranded in the Snow. The highway was a desolate ribbon of black asphalt, barely visible beneath the swirling snow. I was driving home after visiting family, determined to push through the 10-hour journey in one go. As the hours passed, the snowfall thickened, blanketing the world in an oppressive, smothering light. Somewhere along the deserted stretch of road, headlights flickered in the distance. A car was stopped, its hazard lights blinking weakly. As I drew closer, I saw the driver, a man, waving me down. His car was turned awkwardly across the road, blocking most of the passable lane. Reluctantly, I pulled over. The man trudged toward my window, his face partially obscured by a scarf. "Car's stuck," he said, his voice muffled and strained. Can you help push?" I hesitated. The storm was relentless, and something about the situation felt wrong. But with his car blocking the road, I didn't have much choice. Nodding reluctantly, I grabbed my gloves and stepped out. The cold was brutal, biting through my layers as I positioned myself behind his car. The man rummaged in the front seat, supposedly grabbing gloves. That's when I noticed something odd. He wasn't alone. I caught movement in the car, shadows shifting in the back seat. My stomach clenched as I realized there were others in there. The man returned, his demeanor somehow off. His eyes were sharp, calculating, and his once pleading tone was now eerily calm. "You okay?" he asked, his voice hollow. My instincts screamed to leave. Just as I stepped back toward my car, the doors of his vehicle flew open, and 3 men spilled out, moving toward me. Panic surged through me like a lightning bolt. I sprinted to my car, fumbling with the door handle. The engine roared to life as I threw it into drive, narrowly missing one of the men as I sped past. My tires slipped and skidded on the icy road, but I didn't dare slow down. I reported the incident to the police at the next town, but I never heard back. I can only guess what might have happened if I hadn't acted on my gut feeling. Story 3. The Uninvited Guest. Winter's first snow blanketed the town in an eerie silence. I arrived home from work around 8 p.m., the flakes already piling up. By 10, I was upstairs in my bedroom, laptop open, when a sharp thud echoed from above. I froze, my eyes darting to the ceiling. The sound was deliberate, like something or someone moving across the roof. Grabbing my jacket, I stepped outside to investigate. The snow on one side of the roof had completely slid off, forming a dense pile in the yard. Oddly, the other side remained untouched. My unease deepened as I trudged back inside, stomping the snow from my boots. The moment I stepped into the hallway, I saw them. Puddles of water trailing through the house. My breath caught as I followed the wet footprints, my heart pounding with each step. They led to the staircase, vanishing into the shadows above. A chill ran down my spine as I realized the implications. Someone was in my house. Just then, movement flickered in the corner of my eye. I turned toward the living room and saw a figure dart past the window. I bolted outside, phone in hand, dialing 911. As I stood shivering in the snow, a silhouette appeared in my bedroom window. The figure lingered, staring at me with a cold, unblinking gaze. By the time the police arrived, the intruder was gone. They found signs of forced entry, a window left ajar and footprints leading to a tree overhanging the roof. Nothing was stolen, but the officers believed the person had been searching for me. To this day, I don't know what they wanted. The thought of what might have happened if I hadn't left the house still keeps me awake at night.